I should have brought tomatoes from my garden because I have a lot.
Tomatoes.
Up and at them with onions, jalapenos.
They're just little ones.
Okay, then no. You're a bad gardener then. You're only on little.
Thanks. Or green beans because I have a lot of green beans.
How's the green beans?
Not us.
It's 5:30.
In charge?
Ready?
I need MacBook.
You got the recording ready?
Okay, but I don't remember what to do. So, welcome to Planning Commission, September 9th, 2025. First order of business, the approval of the agenda. Would anybody,
Will you accept a motion if I make a motion?
I would, but do other people
Does she
need?
have to say she's accepting a motion? Okay, I make a motion to approve the agenda for today.
Okay. Have we all looked at the agenda? Yes? Okay. I make a motion to approve the agenda for today. Would anybody?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Number two, do we have any declaration of conflicts of interest in the
I
items?
just want to call for a vote first
Yeah,
Oh.
of the agenda, just to make sure we're all like,
on board.
we had a motion and a
Oh, we
second.
had a motion and a second, now we need
Now
to
we're
call
gonna
for
do
the.
Yeah,
Okay, voting on approval of agenda, would everyone give their,
All in favor?
all in favor, say yes?
yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Any
good.
opposed?
Any opposed? Okay.
Doing great.
Thank you. Number two, the declaration of conflict of interest. Do we have anyone that needs to declare? No. Do I have to just approve that or we just move on?
Nope. Just move on.
Okay, number three, public comments. 3 minutes again.
Yeah. Who do you want to record?
I can time it.
Probably not me.
I can do it.
Okay. I would, either or both would be great. Okay, so right now we're opening it up to public comments. 3 minutes for each person. Please come up and state your name, and we would love to hear from you.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Purcell, and I am just here to once again represent some of the people and thoughts in my neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood. We love it. We don't want to see it in a higher density housing. I've heard time and time again that we have to make sure we're protecting our property owners' rights, and I absolutely agree with that. I'm not saying stop building. I am asking once again that we stop rezoning to a higher density. The hills, they're not safe for all the kids. I just feel like having a higher density housing really is a safety issue. And time again, every time this is brought up, I feel like we're having a decent number of residents come out here and say, we don't want this. And we would like to know that we are being heard. I believe at the last planning meeting, we had 10 to 15 people come up and say, we don't want higher density housing. And then shortly after, I heard everybody say, oh, you know what would fix all of the problems you named is higher density housing. And I'm not sure we're being heard. I'm not sure that we're feeling heard. And we're just asking, we like the single family homes. We like the neighborhood feel. We don't want to change that. So once again, I'll say my piece and ask for you not to rezone it. I'm all for development. I don't want it rezoned. Thank you.
It's for the minutes and it goes with my comments. Hi, my name's Christine Eppeling, and I'm here to present a report that documents the concerns of a significant portion of my neighborhood. This report documents a clear message. A vast majority of the residents oppose the zoning change as it is a step closer to multifamily housing. With a remarkable 43% response rate out of 281 households on Radio Hill, 80.9% of these households would support a special zoning area to prohibit all forms of multifamily housing. The top three concerns were increased traffic, strain on infrastructure, infrastructure, and a change in the neighborhood's character. This clearly shows our community's desire to maintain a residential feel. Beyond community sentiment, as stated in a prior Planning Commission meeting, the proposed zoning directly contradicts the city's own current integrated land use plan. We also have serious fiscal and safety concerns about a proposal that has the potential to triple the amount of houses on the hill. We ask, has a formal trade study been conducted to determine the actual benefit or detriment to the city? In addition, we have vital questions that require a professional response. Has profit traffic flow study been conducted to ensure that 1000 North can handle the increased density? Have there been environmental studies regarding the landfill site and the underground springs? In addition, we are here to protect our community values, not to extort the city for improvements. As evidenced in our surveys, residents overwhelmingly prefer single-family homes on large lots, with R112 and rural residential being the top two zoning choices. This perfectly aligns with the current land use plan. Deviation from a foundational document required solid evidence to justify the change. With the current rate of development, we are projected to meet the 2050 population outlined in the current integrated land use plan within the next 5 years. That is a fundamental flaw that proves the plan is no longer a viable guiding document. As the Land Use Institute handbook states, the tendency is for government officials and citizens alike to skip the preliminary steps required to understanding the general plan. Skipping such is short-sighted and more likely to fail if challenged, and more likely to breed cynicism and to those most affected, end quote. We are not just asking you to deny this request. We are asking you to take a step back and engage in a collaborative process to create a plan that is actually capable of guiding our city's growth in a safe and fiscally responsible way. There is no time crunch here. It would be wise to wait for a new viable plan is created. We are here ready to work with you, but we must be listened to. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Eric Richardson. I also live up in Spring Acres. And I feel like what Tiffany just shared of we're not being heard. I don't know how many times we have to come back to similar committees or city councils to say the same thing. We're not asking for changes. We're asking to stay with the plan that was already created, specifically the zoning plan that's already laid out on the city website. We don't want to go to higher density housing. We don't want to go to R110s. We don't want to go to 08s. We leave it at a 12. And I was really hoping the other gentleman in the middle, Roland, was here, because I'm the one that came back and said, we need to go to an R20. And that's not my proposal. My point is, I feel like some of the city members and some of this committee here in this room are not working to serve the citizens of Tremont. We have a plan in place, and some outside influence is pressuring you to deviate, pressuring you to make more money somehow, not you individually, but if you can go to a higher density housing, you put more homes into the city, and that's what we're trying to avoid. We want to stay at the R112 for a couple different reasons. A couple years ago, particularly when House Bill 242 came through about secondary water and the requirements of all communities within the city, or all communities in the state, to become compliant with metered water, metered secondary water, the concern was we're out of resources. We don't have water. That specifically addresses the RUI, which is a residential unit of irrigation. When you put a secondary water, a home with secondary, you only consume a 0.33 credit. If you have a home that only has culinary water, it consumes a credit at a rate of 1. So by adding secondary water, you could effectively triple the size of the city. My concern is also echoed by other members that have already spoken. We are on track to exceed our 2050 growth plan. That means we are growing faster than we would like. I don't understand why we are continuing to push the throttle and to grow the city at increased densities than what's already in the plan. This has already been voted down multiple times. It's been punted from this committee here. It was also punted and voted down from the city council, yet here we are again a third time. Our votes and our voices should be compounded. Yeah, there might only be a handful of us here today. How many were here last time? How many were here the time before? It's as if this committee feels like if you stall long enough, you don't have to listen to the people. And that's my concern. Don't change the density. Just leave it as is. Thank you.
My name's Lisa Christensen, and I just have one really brief comment, and that is putting the high density on the fringe of the city creates an infrastructure lag, and the current land use plan advises keeping high density near the urban part of the city, near the urban hub. And this area is on the fringe of the city, and that was one of my concerns as well.
All right, I'm Molly Teasdale. I live up on the hill. I just have a few things. I've heard 5 or so words that have been repeated in these meetings. Easiest solution and easiest route. Just because it's easiest doesn't mean it's the best way to do it. Second, quantify. I've heard that word plenty of times in here as well. We want it to be quality, not quantity up there. We already are struggling for safety just on that one street. So quality is kind of where we're at. And minimum requirements has also been said, repeated multiple times in here. Why go for the minimum when you can reach this much higher? It just doesn't make any sense to me. That being said, as far as safety goes for the kids, with the traffic that is already on the streets, you're also going to be adding construction traffic. How are you going to keep everybody safe from that? Especially if the speed limit is 40 miles per hour. It's already scary. That's pretty much it. And just keeping the integrity of everything on that hill as is. I know that there's a water shortage. If a fire breaks out while construction's happening, what are you going to do? Where are you going to get that water? Anyways, that's pretty much it for me. I'm not against the growth. I just want you guys to do it the right way, period. Thanks.
Anyone else?
I have a different perspective. My name's Marisha Menlove, and I'm a property owner. My family lives here in Tremonton, and I'm all about sustainable growth and planned unit development, planned growth, planned for the future. I have 4 kids. I wonder how they're going to afford a place to live. A lot of the people that we've heard from, I don't know what they paid for their houses, but they bought them a long time ago, so their mortgage may be $250,000, $300,000 a year. What can you buy for $300,000 a year now? It's really hard. It's really hard to recreate what is there without creating $1 million house that's unattainable for my kids. I want my kids to be able to live here, to grow here. I want my nieces and nephews to come here. I want my siblings to come here. And through planned unit growth development, when the city has a plan of sustainable growth, developers can come in and help repair some of the infrastructure costs that maybe they lack. A city gets money from taxpayers and from developers from sales tax. So I look at some of the city problems and ask the developers, how can you solve some of these problems? How can you solve some of the problems on the hill? The road is dangerous. Okay, can you widen the road? How close are you to a freeway entrance and exit? Ask some of those questions as you're thinking about this development, because this development brings easy access to the freeway. It's going to solve some sewer issues. It's going to solve some water pressure issues that are currently on the hill. And, you know, I would assume that a lot of the kids that grew up on Radio Hill would love to live by their parents someday. And this would provide a product that's attainable and sustainable for them. Thank you.
My name's Debbie Brantner, and I've lived here most of my life. That's been a long time. I have 4 children, and only one out of them still lives here. So I don't really see where that's really a problem, worrying about where children are going to live. I really wasn't going to get up here, but I saw something on Fox 13 News right before I got here, and it was talking about the water issue. And it says that, you know, of course we live in a desert. And it said something about that because we don't get much rain here, and we haven't for a while, that our dirt is in dire need. So we keep building here, which has taken on more water. So they're telling us conserve water. Okay, so we conserve water. Then we tell the farmers not to use so much water. We're taking the water away because we're building so much. Well, we need the farmers to water because how are we going to eat? What are we going to eat if we don't have the farmers? But then, hey, we need it because we're building all these darn houses so that not our kids live here, but so people from other towns and states move here. I don't agree with that. So I think we need to slow down the flow of building, take care of ourselves, take care of our dirt by what Channel 13 says we need to do, and let's take care of who already lives here.
Last call. Okay. Oh. I don't know how much she had left. You?
Is that allowed?
It's like
Okay.
15 seconds.
You're fine. You're fine.
My name's Lisa Christensen again, and I just want to give you some input from my perspective of my kids living here. We could even bribe our kids and give them property, and they won't live here because we don't have anything, and we don't have enough in Tremonton to draw them here. They have to drive to Logan, other places, to fulfill what they want. So I would like to see you focus more on bringing the businesses, the things in here that will bring my kids back here. But as of now, that's not where they want to be.
Okay, I think we're closing public comments for today, unless I see anybody stand up. And we're on to item number 4, the approval of minutes for August 12th, 2025. I have not seen them, but did you send them today?
She sent them 4 days ago.
Oh.
But I didn't get a chance to read them either.
Maybe I did then, and I missed it because I
You
thought.
weren't here. It was the one that you weren't here for.
Okay, well, I can abstain from voting because I don't know that what happened. I meant to.
I read them because I was out of town on the 12th, so I wanted to make sure I caught up. So I did read them.
Okay, good job. I'll claim that I'm not awesome today. Anybody else, though? We all good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for August 12th, 2025.
I'll second.
The vote to approve the minutes, if
All in favor?
all in favor say yes.
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 Okay, I'm a yes. Okay, new business, discussion and consideration of the Overlook Development rezone. What we've been talking about already today. Would you like to help us out, Jeff?
Yeah, so Chris and Seth are both here. Chris is the civil engineer with, and Seth is representing Link Construction, who are the developers with the project. We have do you mind pulling up the concept? The rezone concept, yeah. Did I say the wrong screen? Oh, no, that's the industrial rezone. Sorry, is there an overlay template?
Well, I think we did it on last.
There it
week.
is.
Yeah, that one.
No, I thought I said the concept. That's it? I'll board
All I
it
have
too.
to-
Isn't that the one we're talking about?
Okay. So I'm assuming we want to hear from the people that are
Yeah, I think
here
we
to
should wait for
inform
the
us.
Concept to come up.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Good.
So this is the, sorry, my phone. The overlook rezone came through, and we've been working with them to help cover a lot of the capital infrastructure needs that are on the hill between water supply, dead end roads and dead end water lines, along with 1,000 North that the city's been planning on improving, but we're working on. There's some infrastructure needs, as we've heard through the public comments. So we've worked with them, and we've had discussions about partnering together to solve those issues. They've expressed interest in utilizing the planned unit development code that we worked through last, I'm just gonna ballpark last year. And so their plan is to take the base density for R110 and put, work on clustering some of the denser units down by the road, and those large green squares you see in the top right corner are all R1, or all single family lots. So I think they were 10,000 square feet, Chris?
Yeah.
And so the gradation is to have, I think this is 4 total product types in these 80 acres, right?
86, yeah.
86 acres. To help diversify some of the housing products we see in Tremont and bring products that have had success in Davis and Weber counties here to help just diversify what our housing market here in Tremont has to offer. The plan is that Road F up along the top would eventually go over, and its master plan that would kind of be an arc road over both the Country View and the Valley View estate developments to tie in all of the stub roads for now. And at least be able to give some options for connectivity up on the hill. So I'm happy to open up. Chris, do you have any comments before I open up to questions from the Planning Commission?
No, just a couple things just to throw out there, just to kind of go over with you guys. The difference between an R10 and R12 zoning is it's 95 units. That's the difference in the density. The couple things I just like to point out is that we are doing a 3.27 acre park. And also, there's 12 acres of open space with trails in here. So 18% of this project is open space. We tried to do the centralized park in the middle. The red line that you guys see going kind of on an angle through here. That red line is the serviceability for the water currently.
The pressure.
So this red line here, that's with working with your engineer, that's where it's currently serviceable. So this would be where we start our phase 1. And so as far as the construction issue or concern, they'll do an access down at the bottom that all the construction will come up from there. So phase 1 would come down in this area, the first few phases. And then, just like I said, like there's open space coming up through here. We're buffering these existing homes here with open space and with larger lots on top.
Chris, can you show?
Oh, yeah. Don't know how to do that, but we'll try. So these lots here were put in, single-family homes, larger lots, and then open space corridor here to buffer these homes. The phase one, this road will be built first. So we'll start at the bottom corner and work our way up. When we get up to where the water tank has to go in, the developer is working with the neighboring property owner to put the water tank in to service not just this project, but to service the area. He's going to build a reservoir for secondary water that will service this area as well as improve the city's water system. And sewer is here at this intersection. So we'll be bringing sewer down 1,000 north with improvements to 1,000 north so that we can sewer the project. Did I miss anything?
Nope, and then just other infrastructure on 1,000 that we've been talking about.
And that-
So ultimately, to meet the pressure demand, not just for this project, but ultimately, the tank would then provide the missing pressure to meet once you go across the red line.
Yes. Yeah, and Pat can't build above the red line until that tank's.
Right. Right.
What is the density of the first phase? I mean, what are those units that are,
These are townhomes. The overall density is what's in your zone. The overall density with the R110 is 6.5 units per acre. So overall, these down here would be a townhome unit. These would be, they call these, what do we call those? Six packs. So they have a shared drive in the middle. So you don't have 6 driveways coming out on a main road. Then these 6 homes access that private drive that goes down the middle. And then these up on top, those are a twin home concept.
those orange ones?
Yeah, the orange ones. And so what we're trying to do is transition it down. But Jeff wanted the types mixed. So that's why you've got pockets of different types of units. And then the townhomes would be down in the first phase of the corner.
You know, those six-packs, are they connected homes, or they have space in between? Similar to like the new Archibald area, which,
Yeah, they call them
smaller
cottage
lots?
They
Yeah.
call them cottage lots. And what the 95 units helps the developer do is spread the cost of the water tank, the reservoir for secondary water, running the sewer line, improvements of 1,000 north. We're trying to make these a product that's attainable, not some, if you fill it up with 12,000 square foot lots, then you'll lose the open space, you'll lose the park, and it'll just be a subdivision.
The one part two, just those 6-pack lots for clarification, those are the size of the homes that are actually in the Archibald Estates, not the new ones that Visionary building. Those lots match the footprint of what's been completed in Archibald, so they're about 6,000 to 7,000 square foot lots. Which, I mean, those are still pretty, I mean, those lots will probably go for high 4, low 500,000. So, I mean, that's for.
So the side easements are a total of about how much on those?
With the PUD ordinance now, I think we got it's, was it 6 feet? I think it was 16 feet total, so I think you can break it up as like an 8 or a 6 and a 10 or something, but
Yeah.
we didn't want to get them so tight that you share rain gutters. But we might be getting there too. Just observable trends from Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. Apparently rain gutters have got to start getting a little bit closer.
I like that 6-pack concept. It's on my list of things to read, to Strong Towns. Have you read that book? Okay, so it's like the idea of like smaller towns that are growing now, right? And it's like kind of like we've done with Main Street, of like repurposing the buildings that we have rather than building new buildings for small businesses and things like that. And one of the main things that she talks about is the idea of like being able to have bike paths and walking paths and things like that, rather than just having big roadways for everyone to walk on, but being able to, like with her son, whatever, the girl who wrote the book, she wants to be able to walk around with him on his little bike and not have to worry about getting hit in a driveway or things like that. So I love the idea of that 6-pack lot, because then you're having all of that walkability without having to worry about a driveway at each spot. You know what I mean? That you're not, like, that's my neighborhood. Everybody's got a driveway that make sure you look both ways before you go in past anybody's driveway.
Well, and with this one too, by combining the driveways, you've actually created a pretty nice hardscape area where kids could go and play together. So with
Yeah.
the other 5 neighbors to have kind of a spot where they aren't on the sidewalk. Also
Kind of a
creates a
circle.
lot of.
Everybody has their circles.
Creates so much mural room for sidewalk chalk, you know, like.
Well, and
you
even
could
just
do
like
so many hopscotch
safety
matches.
wise, like that just is really nice to not have to worry about those.
When it gives you 24 feet of asphalt surface or concrete, so it's basically, each one of those is like having a cul-de-sac, except the city doesn't have to maintain a cul-de-sac. So it's like having your own private cul-de-sac, but the cost for the city drops drastically, because maintaining and plowing and upkeep of a cul-de-sac and 100-foot radius or 50-foot radius of asphalt to maintain for your future, that's the way development is going, is to keep the maintenance reasonable for the city, but yet getting home ownership, privacy, safety, so that, just think cul-de-sacs. You don't see a cul-de-sac on here, but yet there's several of them. And so that's why master planning this way creates safety. And I mean, you nailed it. You hit the nail on the head with safety, with trails, with not having to, if you've got a 70-foot driveway with 24 feet wide, and you have 6 people driving up and down it, and it's all your neighbors, you're not worried about kids speeding on it or danger or anything happening. So it gives you that runway for kids to play on, and it's a great selling. And again, like I said, it keeps the maintenance. In 25 years and the city has to come in and redo those asphalt roads, this is way cheaper than doing it the old-fashioned way with cul-de-sacs with larger, wide, big asphalt that's gonna cost a lot of money when you have to go fix that. Plus, we've been able to we're trying to structure the density so it comes out and goes to the freeway.
Yeah.
So we wanna keep it so you're not keeping density in a certain area where they're coming all the way through the streets. It keeps the maintenance down on the streets. So with master planning stuff like this, we're trying to, you really flow, and that's one thing Reeves is really good at, is we do flow of the streets. How is it gonna get the traffic out so it's not impacting the city streets? And the location of this is the perfect place for density, because you've got your 100 yards, 200 yards from an on-ramp. So people get in and out, on and off. You can have the majority of these people, wherever they're working, they come into work, and then they still have the ability to go into town. And so it really keeps the maintenance down. And this is where the growth should happen, on a hillside, not necessarily in farm ground, but it's the perfect area for growth to be designed to go.
So with some of the concerns of traffic, where is the current ending of the newly widened road on this map?
Not quite.
Okay, so it's further to the east. So as part of this development, will that road be widened to at least the size of the current widening between there and that inlet?
We'll work with, Pat and Chris have both been open to trying to do this, because they have so much, so many utilities to go. We'll probably end up with some kind of cost sharing. By state code, we can only really enforce them to improve and widen their frontage up to the standards of 1,000 North. But because the project is in such demand, the city will work with Pat in some way to widen that road from where the improvements ended all the way to their west property line.
And this west property line, you mentioned 100 yards to the exit.
I'm just guessing.
How far is it actually to the exit on I-84?
It's not
Probably
far.
like a tenth, it might be a tenth of a mile. Like after that, it goes a little bit and then just bends into UDOT.
Yeah, then there's the road shed there on the right.
Yeah, it's a little, so if you pull it, so yeah, you can see their property line is just a little bit east of where that road starts going up. And so you can see it's not much further to get to the roadway or to the interchange.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
And then with the parks and the trails, that's open to the public as well. It's not a private, it's not like an HOA owns it, maintains it, and the public, other public can. Can I direct?
Yeah.
A lot of times I can't talk.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not supposed to ask.
We're at Tremont and it's fine.
Repeat, please.
I just don't want to get in
Please say
trouble.
this louder.
Erase or throw
We
it
will
out.
repeat it if you don't, so we would love for you to repeat it.
I was just saying that the parks and the trails are open to the public, not, it's not a HOA private entity, it's not. That was the question I had. Oh, okay, perfect.
I guess based on that, is it an HOA maintained or a city maintained?
City maintained, but HOA maintains the entrance, all the other stuff going in, and all of the townhomes.
yeah, so one of the targets that we had with the PUD was, we put language in there that the HOA wants to have it, that they need to fence it and
Right.
sign it to show that it isn't
Yeah,
a public
I know it was a
access,
big
but-
discussion, I remember. That's why I'm asking the
Yeah.
question.
But-
Because in my mind, I just didn't want it to be where the HOA maintains it, but then the public can use it, because
Yeah.
it just,
We'll maintain all around it, the HOA will maintain the entryway and all the stuff for the towns,
Mhm.
but the rest of it will not be maintained by, it won't be private, it will be public.
Yeah, and we'll work with them on trying to really cluster all of that open space together as much as we can, so it makes sense for the city to have it and maintain it as a park.
So if you were to guess, how much, what might the HOA fee be with one of these? Like really low to the point where,
Yeah.
if you were to guess, like some $35, something somebody could afford?
Probably between 35 and 45, depending on what the cost was for private road snow removal. So we just have to,
Yep.
so the
Distribute that
developer
out.
runs that for the first year and actually funds it. And then we're able to go back and say, okay, this was how much it costs, you divide it by per door, and then you can, then you attain what those fees. But we don't have, like, there's not a pool, there's not very expensive stuff, so it's just the minimal requirements to keep, because we do want to keep, that's our biggest goal is we say the word attainable, not affordable. Right now, we're getting attainable housing. So, for example, if you have a homeowner that owns a home, or you have a homeowner that rents a home, same income, same person, just take two scenarios. One person owns and one person rents. So the homeowner who has ownership, their net worth is around $396,000. The homeowner who rents, their net worth is around $10,000. Same income, same lifestyle. This was a study put out by the state in 2022. So we're trying to get attainable housing where you can buy a house for basically the same price you're renting it. But if we can't get attainable housing, then people are going to be stuck in renting. This is what the state's been working. We're trying to, this development will allow us to do the guidelines and the requirement that state is putting in order to meet those requirements for attainable housing. We'll be able to help people get their down payments down, they get bonuses, not as a developer, I don't, so that they can come in and attain and buy these homes and become homeowners. So say if we did 200 homes, that we're able to get people in to buy instead of rent, that's changing the net worth of 200 people by $400,000. That's huge. And that's not just me saying, that's what the state is putting out, so this is what we need to do.
I think
And-
that right there is the, someone mentioned in their comments, the external pressures that we as a planning commission have. Our only external pressure is wanting to build people in Tremonton and build their net worth. We want people to be able to have a house in Tremonton. Like,
Exactly.
in my personal situation, I am 31 years old. If I had not bought a house in 2016 when I did, I would still be renting a house and I would be paying more than my mortgage.
And
And that's not okay, right? Like, I don't want that for my peers. I don't want that for my kids' friends. I want them to be able to have a house to live in. And that's right there is why, that's the external pressure that we as a planning commission have. It's not really external, it's us wanting to build a better life for the people here in town.
if you don't do master plan building like this, if you just go back to I've been developing for 28 years. We used to develop straight line subdivision, all quarter acre lots, all half acre lots. That doesn't work anymore. You can't do that. One, the maintenance is so expensive. Tremonton's feeling that right now, how much your roads cost, how wide the roads are. It didn't matter back in the day. Now stuff is 10 times more expensive. And the problem is, again, you nailed it right on the head, is do you want your kids to live here? Do you want your kids to live in the wonderful city of Tremonton? If you don't do master planning like this, they won't be able to live here. They won't afford to live here. They'll live downtown Ogden.
Well,
That's what they can afford.
And like what you were saying, we have seen the statistics on what people make when they live here. And it's not, like, I can understand what everybody in the comments are saying. My son just got his very first job out of college. He's ecstatic. He's making $65,000 a year. And so this would be what he could do. But that being said, I think with her comment as well, we talk about chickens and eggs and people who are living here, and then the development of places for people to work to get better jobs and, afford more as well. But this would provide them to be able to get something bigger, better as they moved up as well. Yeah.
I think just like that, how many of our small businesses that are on Main Street are from people who have moved to Tremont in the last 10 years, who have now started businesses here in town and are bringing in sales tax and these other things that they're not building new buildings, right? They're not saying, oh, we're going to develop these new big buildings to have our business, and we're going to utilize this downtown space and revitalize it to be able to be a successful downtown. I think a lot of the companies that are now on Main Street are from people who either moved back to Tremonton to do those things or didn't come from here in the first place and moved here to develop those things. I think that's important to realize too. That's like, those are the people that are going to build Tremonton and keep building it and growing it.
I have a few questions. Did anybody of the planning commission call you and tell you to come and develop this property?
On the planning commission? Yeah.
Like any of us.
Definitely no.
What I think people get this confusion, that we go out and try to grow the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Oh, I've heard that a lot.
and we do not, and that's not our function at all. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear. Can you help us understand some of the costs of what it's going to cost you to put in a water tank, the park, the improvements that are going to benefit the neighboring residents?
So if the average, what we now, unfortunately, in order to put a water tank in, we estimate $2 per gallon.
Holy shit.
That's what it is now. Oh my God. That's not what it used to be. That is what it is now.
How big of a tank are you proposing?
$1 million gallon tank. And then you got to bring the surge charge line from the old tank.
Don't forget the PRV.
Yeah. And so you bring the pump that we have to pump it up to the tank from the tank that exists. Then you got to bring the line down. And then you're so high, you get so much head pressure, you have to put a PRV in, pressure reducer valve. That's several $100,000, not including the line you have to put in. And then it has so much head pressure that usually you can't just do one PRV, because if that breaks, if you get a normal home, their max PRV, pressure reducer valve, in their home is 75 PSI. If you go to 85 PSI, your faucets, they'll all break. Your shower heads, they can't handle it. People don't understand why it's so important to have the PRV in their house, because you get influxes in your water line. It can jump up to 150, 180 pounds sometimes. And so you have valve checks inside your house, inside your water meter, all that protects that. If you didn't, especially the water tank being so high, anyway, I'm getting way into technical stuff, but that's what's just to put a water tank in. That's not including the sewer. We're increasing the other, and the water tank is not just to help what new stuff I'm going to be putting. That's for what's existing right now. The water pressure is dropping. I'm not meaning to offend you, but it's inadequate as it sits right now. And I only know
That's
that
one of the
because we've been
concerns that
working
people
on
have
that. and
told
that's-
us. Yeah, that was one of the main concerns people had, was that they don't have enough water pressure on the hill right now.
So it's going to cost about $3.5 to $4 million before I even get to my subdivision. And so if we don't have doors or density to cover that, it makes it really, really impossible. Then I go meet with Jeff, instead of saying, hey, let's make this doable for everybody, it's, well, this is what we can put in, sorry, deal with it or not. And that's what's gonna happen, because, great question, you did not call me and ask me to come here. What brought me here, I live in Weber County, I didn't need to come up here, I have a lot of subdivisions in Weber County. But what brought me up here is the demand. The growth is coming, the buyers want to be here. They're coming to Tremont. As a developer, it's not build it and they will come. It's they want it and I'm going to come. So if we don't do master plan communities, as soon as anybody sells a subdivision in Tremont, it's going to go whatever's planned. And somebody will build it. Somebody will buy it because there's buyers here right now. If you don't plan correctly, you're going to get subdivisions. I'm sure you've all been in a subdivision. You're like, how in the heck do I get out of here? That's poor planning. That's just developers who don't do, when we master plan something, we look towards, we act like we own the entire area. And we master plan for everything. We do connectivity of roads, connectivity of trails. We do all the infrastructure builds that we need. We put all of these big, it's very complicated. And that's why I have really, really smart people that work for me. And that's how we put these big plans together. And I'm not knocking other developers, do not get me wrong. I don't mean that. But when they come in and a landowner sells a piece of ground and say, hey, come buy my 5 acres. They don't think like we think. They think, I have 5 acres. I can get quarter-acre lots. Boom, I'm going to put, would be 5 acres, quarter-acre lots, 4 is 20 minus 10%. You get 17 lots out of that. How am I going to put them on here? What's the cheapest thing I can do? They're not going to care about anything else. And at 5 acres, it's not enough to work with Jeff to put your infrastructure in. You're stuck and you just got new houses, all square. It's not going to make your land use better. It's not making your streets better. It's not doing, and that's what's going to happen because development is coming. Growth is coming. I didn't do it. I'm not the mean guy that's bringing the bad guys with me. Growth is here. Just like everybody who didn't used to live in Tremont, the growth came. Some developer built their house. And real quick story. I know I talk a lot, but I developed a subdivision and I fought. Everybody came in screaming, you're not in my backyard, don't develop here, don't develop here. And so I developed it. We got it done, the first phase. About 6 years later, I came to do the second phase of the ground behind. Half the people that I built their house got up and yelled and screamed at me for bringing in more development. I was like, I did the same thing for you guys, and if I didn't, you wouldn't be here. But people forget that. It's not in my backyard. It's not, I came here, you shut the doors for development. Well, in a city, if you don't have growth, a city is like a shark. A shark, if it sits still, it dies. If a city doesn't have growth, it dies. It can't afford to continue. You can't get new commercial. Commercial is what provides the city with their tax base. That's how they pay for the roads. If you're not getting new homes or new growth coming in, a city will die. I can give you 10 examples that cities die and they go bankrupt. And that's no fun. Then nobody wants to live there. And then industries leave. Businesses leave instead of businesses coming. But if you don't do smart planned growth, then you're going to get the growth, but in a horrible way that nobody wants anyway. So the growth is coming. I promise you it's coming. It's here. It's not coming. It's here. And again, developers don't come in, and if we build it, we hope they come. We don't go invest $50 million and, gosh, I hope it comes. We do it because we know it's here. It's here. Good or bad, it's here. Let's do it the right way.
Well, the thing I learned through this whole process is that all of the people that spoke, all of their homes and subdivisions are what caused these problems, unfortunately. And like the traffic and the water pressure and all those things, the fire risk, all that was caused by all the people who already came in, technically. This actually is a solution that we wanted when we put the PUD in place by allowing open space and parks and walking trails and all the cool things. And he's essentially going to pay to fix all of the problems.
You guys have
The
had.
water pressure, like from a fire perspective, if he puts a 1,000,000-gallon tank up there and our pressure goes from 20 to whatever, 70 or whatever the max is, I'm sure our fire protection is 1,000% better than we currently are.
Yes. By far.
What, did we have a developer that developed all the rest of Radio Hill up there with these other cul-de-sacs and things?
I think there were a few of them.
There was multiple
From my
developers.
understanding. Yeah. The question is, too, is, I mean, I'm going to read through this. We know that there are problems that need to be solved, that these guys are willing to solve for us. I can honestly say that I'm not, like, I lived in an area that had this kind of housing. I don't know why it wasn't my favorite. Like, I think it functioned very well for those people. It wasn't what I wanted to live in. I didn't mind, like, it still was very clean. It was still very walkable. It was a lot of things. I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that are going to be hard about getting used to this visual for us in this community, because most of us moved here for a visual. Like, I love the visual I currently have. And it's going to be really uncomfortable. Like, it feels like Pleasantville or something with, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, black and white, that we're living in these little, but it is a solution. My question, and I'm not actually asking anybody to answer this, but maybe afterwards we can talk about this. When you guys had these meetings about keeping the zoning the way it is, if we ask these developers to reconfigure this whole thing, which I'm sure would cause a lot of money, with the current R1 or the R12, R112, they wouldn't be able to afford to do what we're asking them to do as a city. Maybe they'd break even enough to make it make sense. But do we have a plan as citizens? Like, if I vote and say, no, I need this to stay what I'm listening to everybody else for, do we have a plan to fix the problems and still assess what they want? Because they bought that land and they want to use it. So if we want to listen to you guys and take what you're saying, we need some solutions too. Because I can't tell these guys no if they're bringing some solutions, in my mind, that even everybody needs. And it still doesn't sit incredibly well with me. But,
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
yeah.
So when, I would say this too, the 6.5 units an acre that this covers is really close to the density that the Archibald Estates is, the visionary just finished up. And those two areas on our integrated land use plan are the same, are planned to be the same type of the low to medium density housing. So with regard to this not being in the plan, it really is. Like 6.5 units per acre, that's a very on par with some of the master plan developments we're having right now in Tremont.
And with the traffic master plan from 2025, it is planned for 1,000 to have that much traffic. There has been traffic studies done with that area, and it is already, it has from the state, I guess, does the traffic master plan on that
Well,
state
we
road,
worked
right?
with Wall Consultant Group to update that, but they used a lot of UDOT's modeling standards to make that and update those different versions that you see through the plan.
And believe it or not, we actually do our own traffic studies too, because the last thing I want to do is come build something like this and then we have a bottleneck and everybody hates it. So we've done our own traffic studies and it's a great location for it. We wouldn't come and invest and do all this, even try, if our traffic study says no. So we've got about, I don't know, $300,000 invested in this project just to make sure it's something we want to do. Because if we're not going to come in here and do it if it doesn't flow right, or if it doesn't meet, or if it doesn't, so many different things have to work and flow and go to, or I have to fix them. I don't just walk away. It's like, oh, well, I need to fix this. Oh, I need to fix this. Oh, I need to fix this. So there's different things, but we did already do our own traffic study, because it's great to use other people's traffic study, but if they're wrong, I just banked a lot of money on their knowledge. Instead, I want my own. So I'm just concurring with you with an actual traffic study that we did.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, I was talking to an engineer earlier, and they told me that there's multiple roads that they've dealt with throughout the state that they have a 2-lane road that runs 50,000 cars a day. So the roads are capable if they're properly, adequately sized and maintained. It's not, I mean, we're not even in the park of a traffic problem, in Micah's opinion, just because.
That's, my Travis study said the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even on the map of a problem with traffic, you know? I mean,
And we do understand that as parents, we understand that having kids in buses and all that, that is different than necessarily the numbers on a paper saying that traffic is okay.
sure, but as far as like road capacity is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, as
Well, I think if the shoulders were improved a bit, I mean, the shoulders on that road from the current improvement to the exit of the freeway is kind of bad, you know, so if the roads were at least improved with better shoulders, that would help.
better.
And,
Yeah.
It sounds
you know,
like you
and
guys are putting
to address there was an issue brought up about safety, and I currently work for the transportation department of the school district. And one of the challenges we have in that area is not enough ingress and egress for transportation. And that's why the students come down to the highway, come down to 10th North to meet the bus, because we can't get in and out of there. And this would solve that problem. That would enable transportation to bring buses up into that development and get the students closer to buses. Right now, the state guideline is students can be secondary students up to 2 miles away from their bus stop. 1.5 miles for elementary students. And so, but the challenge we want to come up in there, but we need better ability to get in and out. And right now, that's not available. So this is one thing that I think would improve safety with the students, because we'd be able to improve transportation to the schools.
The big final question I have, what's the difference in the plan for the R112 plan of what you could do versus the R110? Meaning, if we were to approve this, you know, what benefits to the community, the neighboring, the city, the everybody can you bring or you plan to bring different than what you can afford to bring if we don't approve it? Does that make sense?
Great question. Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So we would take out the open space, we'd take out the trails, and we would be 96 doors less. And so any not demands, that was the wrong word, any requests other than what I have to legally put in, we wouldn't do anything else besides our frontage, what we own, and that's it.
So the difference is the PUD concessions, basically, is that right?
Partly of some of them, yeah.
The point system.
Can they still use the PUD on the R112?
They can,
Not-
but
They just won't get as much.
you'd start hitting minimums. Yeah. What's the minimum open space? Here you go. What's the minimum? Because so much of this project is having to cover so much infrastructure costs that you're gonna start designing what we were hoping to get out of the PUD down to the minimums. So we might have the open space, but like the pickleball courts, pavilions, and all those features that they're showing and willing to help put in disappear, and you get a nice long lawn.
Well, and there's different open spaces that we can do. So we cut back, we do what's called cluster. We cluster all the building to one area, and we leave big, huge open spaces.
Like a nice
The
little
ordinance.
retention basin that just has all the grass that dies and it
So
puddles
there's
everything.
ways
It's
that we still meet
wonderful,
all the
and there's so many
ordinances. We just
mosquitoes
don't
that
do
live
as
there.
Cool stuff that's not as nice, and it just affects as much as we can. We'll still do it, but it's just not
Not aesthetically pleasing.
correct. And it doesn't, we can't return as much benefit to the city. That's just where it becomes the problem. And it's just math. It's all it is. It's just math for us. What can we sell each lot for at the end? My margins are the same. And so it's how much do we sell the lots for? How much, because I have investors I have to meet, I have performers I have to meet. It's all just a mathematical calculation. And so we put it in, and what can we spit out at the end? And so it just gets reduced.
When you did the traffic study, if you're all the way done with everything, did it say that there would be any backup on I-15 as you're coming off the freeway, like if, at the end of the day? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know how you have to slow down really quick to,
So I think our traffic study is like 62 pages or something. I look at the last page. It says, is this really good or bad?
okay,
It's bad.
so it said
Like
good.
my
Read the
geotech-
summary.
I read the summary. Like I have a geotech that we do on every single project. We do, on this one, I think we did 26 holes. I don't read every single one. I look at it, it says, can I put a footing and foundation in? What size do I have to put in? And can I do basement? So I have every piece and I will gladly look it up for you, but I would hate to tell you the wrong thing. But it was on a scale of 1 to 100, and 100 being the worst, it was way, way down here. It was not even, it wasn't even a concern, to be honest with you. So I apologize, but I could look at that and get you more answers. Like I said, it's 60-something pages.
I don't know, it might bother me 50 years from now. But, okay.
So I think one thing I'm thinking, my,
Read all 62 pages of
no,
traffic.
no, not at all, no. So my sister lives in Rexburg, right outside of Rexburg. Their county is building this nice, beautiful development right behind them. She has horses, they have pigs, they have all these wonderful things on this lots that they have. And the development that is coming in, it's with the county because it's not part of Rexburg City. So they don't have to have as much regulations and things like that. They're coming in, they're building this big pond for the water, and it's gonna be right by her house. And they went to every single planning meeting and every single city council meeting, and they, for months, asked for things not to happen because they don't think that it's gonna be the best thing for their neighborhood. And it's not really what they want next to their property, right? But ultimately, it passed, right? And they're now building this lot, right? And now she has friends that are building houses in this neighborhood right next to her, and she's actually really excited about it, right? But for a long time, she really opposed this and didn't want it to happen, and she still doesn't really think it's gonna be the best thing. But overall, the county and all the planning commissions and all these things, they went through and said, you know what? This is gonna benefit a lot of people to build these houses here. And it might not feel like it's the best thing for you right now, but ultimately, this is what's gonna benefit the county, right? And so I see you guys here every single week, every other week, whatever, and I know that's also what you're feeling, right? She's my sister. Obviously, I get that. I have heard her complaining about this, and like, I understand how much it sucks. But I also, as someone up here looking at this saying, I'm a volunteer, trying to choose what I think and what my family and what other friends and people that I have here in this town are what they want for this city and what they want for growth and for our families and things. And for the 100 and so people more that can become homeowners through this by changing the zoning and by allowing that growth and that, what did you call it, their net worth to grow by so much just by becoming homeowners. Like, to me, that is so worth it. And I understand how hard that is. I understand that it's hard to not feel like your voice is being heard, and I'm really sorry. But I also think that as a planning commission, we are here to help make recommendations to the city council that we think are best for the entire city, not just for the 10, 15 people that come every week. So I'm really sorry that you guys feel like we're not listening, but I also want you to understand that, like, we are trying our best, and there are how many other people in this city that are not here every week that want to buy houses, right? I have friends who want to buy houses that cannot afford houses because there's no affordable housing for them to buy because houses are sold like that they want. So that's my thoughts. Just want to let you know, I get it, I understand, I really do. But I also think that this is what is best.
Well, in my opinion too, is that we have kicked this can a lot of times at this point, at least, I mean, I assume that everybody has felt that way as well. Do we feel like we've got all the information that we feel like we can derive from this situation, other than potentially reading this over the next 2 weeks?
I think even with reading this over,
It won't change it.
it's not going to change my decision. And I mean, all we are doing is recommending to the city council, and they get to ultimately make the decision. And we'll see, maybe they will wait until after the election to make the decision. Then it'll be somebody else's problem.
Yeah, and that's where I'm caught right now, is because I feel like my due diligence is to read this, but I do feel like we have talked about this over a lot of commission meetings at this point. And so I guess I will say this. Who would like to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the zoning changes of Overlook Development Rezone, or the Overlook Development Rezone from R12 to R10.
Okay, would somebody like to second it?
I'll second it,
Okay.
if I can vote.
Yeah. So we are now voting about the rezone of Overlook Development. If you would like to continue with, is this right?
Yeah, all in
With
favor.
what our,
Favor?
yeah, all in favor, say yes.
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 Yes. Okay.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
Seeing none, motion carries.
Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you, Micah.
No problem.
Someday.
I've done it.
I wanted to make a comment, it's kind of weird, but I had another idea. It could potentially be possible to work out a special improvement district to offset the costs of said developer by burdening the neighboring subdivisions who
Mike,
caused part of the burden. And no, I'm serious, because maybe he's willing to trade density and say, hey, if I don't have to fix all of these costs and problems that were partly, if not all, caused by the neighbors, that maybe it would actually be a thing where it's a win-win. If they can help the costs and the city doesn't have to pay for it, then he can remove density and still make it a project that would still fly.
Or charge us 50% more on our taxes.
Well, that's what a special improvement district is, essentially.
We charge them.
Just an idea, just an idea.
Why was it us and not the city who approved the development? Why was it our fault?
Can't talk about that right now, we gotta move on.
So,
I'm just
Hold
saying
on.
it's a conversation for you guys to have outside of this room. We can't
So-
do it, but you guys can.
in other words, this is a motion, like, this is an idea that you had as a solution to
Yeah.
this problem
To
that could
say-
be talked about between now and the time that the city council approves it.
Well, and at least have the conversation, if the city was even to have that if the city was even willing to entertain such
That
a motion.
conversation.
But I mean, like the fire issues, the access, the roadways, the safety, all these things, the water pressure, are really not just solely his problem necessarily, but he's willing to fix it, and that's the easy, approach for the city. But another approach could be to do something of that nature, I don't know.
And then it could be determined who was burdened with that?
Well, yeah, because they can go back and see who put it all in and how it was supposed to have gone, because in theory, if it was done correctly, we shouldn't have any of these problems, in theory. But I think it's like he mentioned, when you have a little development and then you have a little phase and then a little phase and a little phase, pretty soon you get in and you're like, oh crap, we got 80 homes off of a single entrance, and what's her bucket that had a problem when there was a gas leak. You know what I mean? I mean, there's all these safety concerns, which I appreciate everybody bringing up, because in my mind, it's actually much worse than I anticipated, and is actually more critical that we do it. Because all these issues are much more critical now that we've been aware of them, that we didn't even notice previously.
Especially because we're not living there and suffering with any of the water problems.
True. But just an idea.
Okay, well, at least it's been spoken, that that's a solution. It may not be a fun one. Okay, 5B, discussion and considerations of Chapter 1.08, Commercial Industrial Zones.
woo, woo.
Guys, we got to it.
We got to it. We have 20 minutes.
All right, ready? Go.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys coming and explaining all of this to us and helping us see it all.
You guys want this to hit Just tell me, I'll get Jeff over the head.
I actually would like to hit Micah with it. Can I have it to hit Micah? That would be awesome.
No part of that, I'll get Jeff.
Okay, what are the changes for this commercial zone stuff?
So all these changes are focused on the industrial districts. We've talked about this on and off for a few months, but other pressing matters have continued to come up. So what I've done is there were a few different drafts, and I was able to combine them all into this one. So everything that is red is a potential change. I don't really want to go through them one by one, but we can get to highlighting them at least. So as we go down a little further, we're changing, up to all the big red paragraphs. We're just changing we're changing how the zones are defined, and we really wanted this in terms of a flex industrial / business park, so that you could have a kind of a hybrid between commercial and industrial uses. They've become quite popular through the Wasatch Front, honestly, where you've got an office space in front, but there's enough room and in the back of the shop to have some kind of packaging or kitting or some kind of manufacturing light assembly type work. These are not the type of businesses, though, that get the freight traffic normally associated with industrial. And so they're honestly a good spot where you can get some startup businesses that maybe need to be doing some 3D printing, but they don't have the noise or air quality of heavy industrial. So that's the flex industrial business park space. Light manufacturing and distribution, we start getting into a little bit heavier work where we have some conditional uses in that start saying, okay, we're okay if you're producing, we're okay if you're doing some traditional industrial work, but there's gonna have to be some conditions set forth, mainly because of the zoning that's you're adjacent to. That you're adjacent to maybe some existing neighborhoods, maybe you're adjacent to a heavy commercial area, and we don't need, the biggest Acme industrial plant. As a child that grew up on Looney Tunes, sitting right next to a spot where maybe it's not best suited. And then our heavy manufacturing and distribution is the zone that like Post and Autoleaf would go in, where you've got freight traffic. You're thinking of Lakeshore that's having semi-traffic per day, and we're trying to keep that close to the interstate, so it's on and off, and it's not coming through town. It has its own designated route. And so those are the changes that we made. So to the manufacturing zone, trying to make the definitions more robust. So as we go down through the use table, I'm not gonna ask you guys to make a motion to approve this tonight. I'm just giving you a rundown, and it will be the first thing on October's agenda. We'll cover why September isn't being met in a while. So the use table, I've gone through this a handful of times now. I'm feeling very comfortable with where they are. But if you ask me to do it again, I may change some. I just tend to tweak it a little bit every time, and it's just to tweak it. It's not for better or worse, but I would love input from the planning commission on this use table and the changes of what's conditional, what's permitted, what we don't want to see. As we go down a little bit further.
Why is alcohol and tobacco permitted versus conditional use?
On
the
M&D.
MFB, M1, and M2, you put them as permitted. I was just thinking maybe that would be a place where conditional would be
For
would-
like the M1.
for all three of them, probably. Just that we make sure that they've met all of the potential concerns of the neighbors,
Yeah.
conditionally.
Yeah.
Just if somebody was putting in a tobacco and alcohol specialty store, I just feel like that's in a whole nother
That
realm
one's-
compared to like a home or, a
mean that
commercial
clientele?
business or,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a whole nother realm of like complication that maybe.
Only in Utah. Okay, only in freaking Utah.
Yeah, we can look at that as a consideration. I had where it was the actual store and things, I was like envisioning that, okay, out in front of a retail spot that, sure, if you're gonna have a smoke store being in front of the industrial, like, I know people smoke, I worked on floor shops for a while. And yep, you know what, everyone who went out and had an outdoor break during, and then who stayed indoor to have snacks, so. But that is one of those that, you know, happy to get feedback from the commission on, and no, we don't wanna see that in this zone, but we're happy to have a conditional in this other one. It really is a hard balance I was having with the flex business space of I don't wanna over commercialize it either. I wanna make sure that it still has that industrial purpose to it. Leave it so that if they do want to, subdivide and this space is reserved for commercial, that they have to go through that process of actually doing, getting that zoning as part of the subdivision and development agreement. So that was the current, problem I've been working through with the use table right now. If you don't mind continuing to scroll, Tiff. Yeah, so a lot of uses, a few more uses.
Sorry, question about residential facilities for elderly persons and persons with disabilities. It looks like the C chapter 1.19 supplementary regulations is crossed out. Are there no more?
So I'm working on putting those is into actual pulling them out and combining them. So I was outlining them here.
Okay.
Because I'm in the middle of putting that into, because chapter 19 is quite extensive and there's a lot buried there. And so because this is a use that I think we might see coming as we continue to grow, I would prefer that those standards are out in a chapter that's more visible and they aren't buried together, so.
Perfect, thank you.
Also trying to combine a little bit, because there was a lot of duplicity between the different, how they were broken out. So anyway, instead of having all the footnotes that you saw, I worked with Sam to make this special use regulations so they're at a legible font. And we can add to this too if we feel like stuff in the use table needs to be defined further. Continue to scroll. So here's some changes to lot regulations. I'm hoping we don't have loading docks in the business park, or if they do, it's just for like box trucks and it's not your full like loading,
Walmart.
like 18-wheeler loading dock with green flashing lights. But that's an item I have noted on my version on my laptop to go through and continue to figure out. Continue to scroll, Tiff. I got 13 minutes, I'm doing great.
Also, as a side note, can you bring we got to bring up the commercial trash enclosure and have that conversation again.
Yeah.
The more I've looked at it, the more I don't like it. We need to look at it more closely. Because as I drove around, it's really costly. And like all of Matheson pulled all their gates off because they're so painful.
Yeah, well, and I
Gotta review it.
I was down in Karen's old stomping grounds this weekend, and it was funny how the variety you get between enclosures in Sandy and Draper and Lehigh and where they're at, and are they gated, are they CMU, are they out? And so it would be nice we might be the first city in Utah to make enforceable trash enclosures if we got this figured out.
Yay for us.
Yay for us.
Yeah.
It's the small wins sometimes.
Yeah, I just think we got to look at it, maybe in conjunction with this, but.
That's something I can bring up in the commercial code, because that's gonna be coming up again.
It also is parking included in this, because I didn't note, I know we had talked about.
Chapter 7.
Okay, that's what I was like, I thought we already talked about parking lots and stuff like that, but that's not part of this, okay.
Then we go through and talk about the need to go through and get a site plan permit. And then this infrastructure demand report is going to be one of the required documents at the site plan application that they come through and they give us an anticipated water usage, wastewater generation, power demand. we will work with the developers because some people just stick build their development and they aren't really sure what's coming in and what's not, but they have the faith that if they build it, then someone will wanna come. Others are waiting to get tenants and then they'll build, so we'll be flexible on, but we wanna be able to communicate this with Dominion Energy and Rocky Mountain Power, where those are the other two service utility providers in the area. And so having a report that concises all of this that we can send on to those will just help keep all of us on the same page.
Yeah, I really like this actually. And I actually wonder if we need to actually go even one step further and quantify the penalty actually. Because what I don't want to have happen is we approve like a West Liberty Foods as an example. And then pretty soon we blink and they're taking 50% of our whole entire water system. And they didn't, I mean, my gut is, I don't know for sure, but my gut is they didn't pay the impact fees equal to what all the homes have to pay for that same volume of water that they're using. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure we probably have tough going back, but if we have it in the code that says, okay, if you bring in a company and you say you're gonna use this and then you use this, well, great, you've got to pony up that impact that you stole from us as a city, plus your usage, you know what I mean?
It might actually be, to build off that, it might be nice to create just an industrial business license so that as they have to renew that, if we find something that's out of
It gives you
compliance,
a trigger.
it gives them a trigger to sit in and review that and make sure that, hey, this is the demand you said you were gonna have, this is the demand we're getting off of your meter. Because there's a discrepancy, you're going to be paying that on when you renew your operating license.
Yeah, I just think, I think they would want to be fair too. I think we just want it fair, that it's all set up so that we citizens don't ever have to potentially subsidize
For the
an
cost, yeah.
industry. That, I mean, we want the industries to do their thing and we want them to grow, but we also have a limited water supply
All
ultimately.
that again? The business or
Like
commercial,
an industrial business license. And that way then what it just helps with us on the processing is, right now we just have a general business license, so it's hard to differentiate between what commercial, what home business, what industrial, and
Yeah.
so Greg and I have been, or even commercialized residential, we're trying to work on dividing that, and I think industrial is another leg we could look at improving that brings utilities into that conversation.
yeah, I think that would be,
It's too diverse to narrow it into enforce.
Yeah.
So to make it more enforceable is what we're working on.
But is that the place we should do that, or is this in the code where we should quantify that says, okay, or is that in the actual impact fee ordinance?
I'd have to see how the impact,
'Cause-
fee analysis, transitions. It might be nice to have this, water capacity be expressed in terms of ERUs.
Yeah.
And so that's the language they have to write their water impact by, and so not just that it's gallons, but what are your gallons, and then what does that translate to ERUs, so you could really be able to take that through the impact fee analysis and have them provide the math, but then we at least would have the information as a staff to go through and say, okay, they're only supposed to be taking up this much water, and that's this, and try to, it is a little difficult comparing different uses between commercial, industrial, and residential in terms of water use, but that's what the ERUs are really there for. So I love that idea.
Would,
Go ahead.
sorry, would that consideration avoid some of the problems that happened with West Liberty Foods, for example, when their effluent contained a lot of biomass that caused problems with our sewer systems?
That study
And,
should,
and later, I mean, instead of building their settling pond or whatever that is after the fact, you know, maybe include that up front rather than having the problem later on.
Well, and like I said, this would at least give us a basis of what information they're providing, what their anticipated use is as they're coming to build. And, I mean, if they're within those margins, then yeah, we're good, but it's I think we'll probably need to put is we outline the report and this probably is the best spot to outline those guidelines, what we're comfortable with in terms of standard deviation, because depending on what their production capacity is, you know, maybe they may use 10% more this year. Oh, okay, why was that? And if they can show why they did it and it was useful, maybe they or whatever reason, but at least it gives us a basis to have these conversations around.
Yeah.
The current, city currently doesn't have anything for.
Well, and even more than that, it gives us ability to make sure that we're monitoring, and if they dramatically increase use, especially water, but I think probably sewer should tie in. Because we need to quantify, like, I can see a whole bunch of potential questions, like, if they did take more impact, well, now what impact fee do they pay? The fee that was cheap when they built the building, or the fee now that's 10 times as much when they took it?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it all needs to be quantified, I feel like, especially if we're gonna open up hundreds of acres into the inland port, that we don't want to be burdened as a city with that potential risk, especially in water, I feel like. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's not in here and they come in and say they're gonna do this and then they do something dramatically, we probably don't have any teeth to charge them anything other than usage.
Right.
So, no,
And again,
that's-
back to that, we're trying to put things together that's actual enforceable.
Yeah.
As we're doing the
Good.
outline.
Good.
Being someone who worked at Post, Malto Mill before that Post, and going through the changes that they made in water use, I don't know if that was, because of the city's concerns or because of Post's concerns of the amount of water that they use, but we dramatically reduced our water usage because, there were times when we were cleaning in that place that there was just hoses running 24 hours a day trying to clean equipment, where they discovered eventually that dry cleaning is just as effective in bacterial, monitoring, and prevention. So, I don't know if it was impelled because the city said you're using too much water, or it was internal and they decided to use less, but.
Well, on the flip side then though, like if we said that this, this is the standard that this is what we expect your water usage to be, anytime you come under that, when you come in to renew your business license, like we can rebate that business license because, okay, your impact, you're actually trying to conserve water, you're coming down from what we were expecting. And that's one thing.
Incentivize it.
That's the one thing we found is if you create a program, the state normally views it that if you create a program to penalize, you also have to find a way to reward businesses for
Conservation.
when they do conservation acts. And so that's something that it'll probably take me some time to go through and get that, but it's a great idea because it'll incentivize, hopefully it will incentivize conservation, not just of water, but wastewater generation as well. Anything we can do to help push the capacity of our wastewater plant as we're growing too is a great thing.
I also had a question about this noise pollution standard. I wondered if the freeway would already exceed the noise pollution standard in most of these industrial areas.
Yeah, so if you want to go talk to UDOT about some sound barrier walls, I'll let you take that one, but.
I just wondered how you measure it. If you put in there a 75 dB measured at the property line and the freeway is 80.
Or the frickin' train, depending on who's driving the train and how loud they are with their friggin' horn.
But, the train's just random, but the freeway is constant.
Yeah.
Like 24/7, that thing is roaring. And I just wondered how you measure it in that instance, even if a place
Well,
is being loud.
And then normally in our noise standard, which is one of the other chapters I've been looking to review too, is most of the time it isn't just spot noises that exceed that, but it also involves the duration of how long is that, exceeding the provided sound limit. And so that's the other part too, is, you can always get short bursts or something that exceeds that, but duration also is the key in noise pollution. So
I guess we just
as long as they aren't putting a gravel pit right next to an industrial crusher right next to the property line, most of the time they're pretty aware of these.
Yeah, I just didn't want it to be something that could be argued that they don't meet, even if they're not creating the noise. It was my concern.
Right.
Yeah. So, really that demand report's the last change for the industrial code. After that, we get down into some of the commercially related. I guess there was this for bulk. This was some of the things, that 35, that 10835, that should have been read as well. But those were changes that I found from Salt Lake City's code with the industrial port that I thought were applicable to our standards that are applicable to just helping our general industrial layout, but I'm welcome to see feedback on that as well. So,
So announcements about when we're meeting again?
I have a conference on the 23rd that I'll be in Sandy for, so that meeting will be canceled, and then we'll plan on meeting the 14th of October. So, am I making a motion though to table this until the 14th?
Yes. A motion to table B.
entertain a motion.
I entertain a motion to table Part B, discussion and consideration of Chapter 1.08, commercial and industrial zones.
I make that motion.
I second it. Okay.
I don't know, can she second?
Can I second anything?
I don't know. I never seconded anything. I don't know if it's possible or
And we
not.
know you never did.
You're a voting member, yes, you
Watch
can.
me. I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Having no one be opposed to that, we will move on to comments and reports. Commission comments and reports. Do we have anything to comment?
I had a comment.
Okay.
I was really grateful they got the sidewalk in
Did they do it?
Holmgren Estates. It looks good.
Woo, good,
yeah.
good.
Public Works Department's great. The APA conference, APA chapter of Utah is having their fall conference in Salt Lake on the 9th and 10th of October. If anyone is interested in going down, they haven't released the agenda yet, but normally one of those days is they have an entire section of the itinerary for like people, they call them
Citizen planners.
Karen, I remember Karen and Ashley were at the last one.
And Micah.
And Micah, yes.
I was a part of it.
What?
I was a part of it.
You were part of it? Okay, I apologize, it was April.
It was when Jordan ruptured his Achilles, so it was a little bit crazy that week.
So if anyone of you are interested, the city will pay for your ticket. I will let you know if it's that Thursday or Friday, what day they're planning on having the citizen planner agenda. But they just haven't released it yet, so just mark the calendars if you're interested.
The other thing we need to bring back is the signs, the visionary sign ordinance stuff. I don't know exactly how that applies. I mean, I read it, but I gathered that what they have doesn't necessarily meet the ordinance, but we should review that again and just go through that. They seem to be popping up on every freaking corner.
They just want you to be able to find, because Google Maps doesn't work for new development.
Well, it's easy. Just get an Apple. Forget Google Maps.
It's true.
So, you have anything, Andrew?
Yeah, but it's after this.
Okay. The last time I was gonna bring up is, just wanted to get a feeling from the planning commission. We have public hearings when we bring topics in, so I just wanted to ask the planning commission, are you interested to continue to have public comments at every meeting? Or would you prefer just have the public hearings when we bring items up?
We need to keep having public comments.
I would agree. Do we need to talk about when we're having them? Like, I feel like a lot of people have asked me that they don't get the information that we get until they've already commented and they want to make more comments later. I don't know.
I think it depends. Like last time, when you weren't here, we moved the public comment
To
to
the end?
the end
Did that go better?
before we
or worse?
voted. Maybe we did, because it was a public hearing and public comment, so we moved the public comment to the end.
Probably
we
what
didn't
we
vote.
should do is just move, if we have presentations,
Yeah.
move them to before the public comment,
yeah.
then have the public
Yeah.
comment, then have the business. So then it's like all in the right order, so
Yeah.
we're not like, because I went to a county meeting and that's what they did, and I thought it was tacky. You know, where they actually voted on it and then had the public hearing,
Oh,
or the
Yeah.
public
yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
Oh, that is tacky,
And,
yes.
you know, I think it's dumb.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have, all right, I can make note of
So
that.
yeah, if we have people visiting or like things to inform,
So have like, for example, do the approval of the minutes and then presentation, new business, or then like public comment, then new business.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's ideal. I was also at Garland's, was that last week? And they read this whole paragraph that basically said, if you heckle, clap, speak out of turn without being called on, you'll be removed from the meeting.
Wow.
Did they hire a bouncer?
No, I don't think so, but I just think it's like
It's nice to be said.
sometimes it like devolves into like this heckling, and we want to answer all their questions. It's just not a good venue to do that. We need to do it separately, or we need to do something different than just like heckling and
Like maintaining classroom control if you're the teacher?
yeah, like, and I'm not sure how to do that, but I feel like it needs to be in a different forum than just like the audience, like, impacting, because like if everybody's clapping, cheering for or against anything, then it creates like
Disorder.
well, not only that, but the other people that maybe want to speak in a different arrangement, they don't feel like they even dare speak because of the
Safety wise, it's
yeah,
not comfortable.
like heckling and like, you know what I mean? If there's 10 people against and you're the one for it, it's like you're not even going to speak. So we only hear like one side, and then it turns into like this disaster just because of the control of the meeting. So I actually really liked what Garland had said. And like, I've tried to speak in their meetings and they will not let me speak, which
Because you don't live there?
no, because I wasn't called on and I wasn't on the agenda, and I actually thought it wasn't that bad, you know what I mean? Just because at least they maintained order.
I don't know why, but it made me think of like the British House of Commons when they're all screaming at each other and they get nothing done.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just a thought. I don't know. I just wanted it to be like, so it doesn't feel, because we're like up here and we want to have that conversation and the interaction. It's just not like a good forum to do that in this meeting. Like you know what I mean? It just doesn't work.
No.
But at some point, we could answer their questions, but if they're here, they need to be quiet, listen, and go through the business, speak when they're up for their minutes, and we move, you know what I mean, move along.
Yeah, agreed.
My opinion.
Also, sorry, the Box Elder Annual Summit is the 23rd? Let me look, Dustin emailed about it today.
Oh, was that like the economic summit thing?
I liked that.
Oh, I think it's the 24th.
October? Is that what you
No,
said?
September. The second annual Box Elder Summit registration, it'll be held at the USU Brigham City campus on the 24th from 9 a.m. to 2:30. So if you're interested to the city, I mean, it's a whopping $15, but you can go down. They've got presentations for the whole day. Their tentative agenda is loading on my phone. Wait, there it is. It's like they'll have a keynote from, I think Michael Jeanfro is with the League of Cities and Towns. Anyway, it looks like they're covering a lot about the county water master plan and preserving open space, or how, anyway, it looks like they're having Chris Sands from Cache County come over and talk about how they're trying to preserve open space. But yeah, it looks like it'll run from 9 to 2 with lunch provided.
Cool.
I want to go. I like that.
Yeah,
last one.
sign me up.
Mark, Jack, anyone?
I might, let me,
Committed on that day.
Me too.
yeah, I can't either.
Yeah. I'll reach out to the few missing too and finalize that head count, but plan on going there.
Perfect. I make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait, I had to comment.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I keep doing this. Brett wants to talk in the last meeting.
We have a meeting at 7 o'clock, so.
Oh, well, very quickly. I just wanted to request that at some point, let's get a clear copy of this without all the
Markup?
markup,
Okay.
so that we can digest it a little clearer. One thing that came up, and I think, as a developer mentioned, and I think we realize it, that our master plan is definitely maybe out of date for what we need to do nowadays. So we ought to really consider getting into that, or, the city council, whoever does that. And I did want to go on record and express my appreciation for all of the members of the neighborhood up there that commented at last meeting. I reviewed those minutes and I really enjoyed their comments, and especially for all the work that went into this report. And I think we got a clearer understanding of how everybody feels but also recognize, you know, that we are in a different time when we maybe need to consider something different, so,
Yeah,
That's all I
rock's in a
had to
hard
say.
place.
yeah.
Question for you, Jack. So going forward, would you like me to send a copy with the edits and then a clean copy?
Yes, that'd be good.
Compare them both?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Double the workload. Greg, I'm gonna need you. to
I
do
like
better
the
work.
edits myself, just because I want to go to
I like the edits
changes.
too. I like to be able to see.
Okay, are you going to make a motion to adjourn
Yeah,
now?
well, unless Brett had something, or
No, I think people need to, I have a lot of people ask why I don't say more in this meeting. But remember, I'm not here to sway, or, I'm just here as a representative of the city council, that's it. And I listen. And so I'm not here to make any decisions or try to sway you guys one way or the other. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have, like Jeff and everyone, but that's it, so.
I make a motion we adjourn.
I second you. So,
All in favor?
all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Anybody who